And there we go. And welcome, Hoosier fans, to another episode of Doing the Work, the first show on the Back Home Network dedicated to covering IU women's basketball. I'm your host today, Kathy Amos, and I'm joined with my co-host, Jeff Marlowe. And today we have a very special guest, incoming freshman Lenee Beaumont. So welcome, Lenee, to the show.
Thank you.
Before we jump into our conversation today, I do want to just quickly mention our sponsors, and then we'll turn it over and make you definitely the highlight of tonight. So we do want to mention that we are sponsored by Homefield Apparel. Homefield is constantly releasing new schools or updating the products for schools already in their existing line. So even though it's not basketball season, you can still go out there and find a lot of refresh schools and things that you're bound to love, or for anyone else that's in your life that just likes collegiate gear. And most importantly, you're supporting not just a quality apparel business, but you're supporting an Indiana-based business who got their start in the Kelley School of Business. Go out to homefieldapparel.com, and if it's your first time ordering from Homefield, you can use our promo code HOME, HOME, to get 15% off of your entire first order. Again, that's HOME for 15% off at homefieldapparel.com. Wear one for the team. All right, so let me do a quick introduction. So tonight, again, we are joined by incoming freshman Lenee Beaumont. Lenee is a 6'1" guard. She is hailing from Illinois. She is the Miss Basketball from Illinois, as well as the Gatorade Player of the Year for that state. She went to Benet Academy, and her hometown is Lisle, Illinois. During her senior year, she averaged 19.3 points per game and 7.6 rebounds per game and led her team for a very deep tournament run. She is currently ranked 83 in Hoop Girls rankings. And according to Rhett Wiesborough from our coaching staff, she's already being compared to Grace Berger. So I'm sure no pressure is being felt there, Lenee. Right. She's also a coach's kid and has been receiving offers from Division I, starting all the way back in 8th grade with DePaul University. So Lenee, thank you very much for coming on to the show tonight.
Thank you.
So we thought we'd just start with going back in time. So tell us about your basketball journey. How did you start playing? And when did you really know you wanted to play basketball in college?
Yeah, so I basically started playing basketball as soon as I could really walk. My dad was a high school coach, a boys high school coach. So as soon as school ended, he would take me to the practices. I would just, dribble up and down the sidelines, do whatever I can, get in the way probably. But I knew ever since then, I love the sport. I would play a bunch of other sports, anything you can name it. But I knew basketball was the sport I loved and I had a passion for. So ever since then, I was always in the driveway, whatever I could do, I had a ball in my hands. And then I would say 5th grade year is when I really started to take it a little bit more serious and just, think about playing college basketball, which I never thought was a possibility. Just I always would watch on the TV and think that will never be me. It would be a dream for that to happen. But yeah, and then growing up in 8th grade when I got my first offer, I guess it was just so surreal. I couldn't even believe it. Even after a few months it happened, I was it didn't happen. So it was just crazy. But
oh, Jeff, you're on mute.
Sorry, because my dogs were barking, so I put myself on mute. But anyway, Lenee, I want to follow up on that a little bit. And I can't remember the young woman's name, but I remember reading an article about Benet Academy and how they'd made a run to the state finals, which you guys did. And we'll get back into your season, this past season here. But there was a young woman who played on that team that made that run. And if you could, what was her name? And was she kind of an inspiration for you?
Oh, yes. Kathleen Doyle.
Yes.
So, yeah. So
she went to Iowa. Is that right?
Correct. She was a Big Ten Player of the Year, had a great career, all that. But so I grew up watching her at Bennett, and at the time I didn't know if I was going to go to Bennett Academy or not. It was just kind of a school nearby. But just the way she played, everyone who was watching the game knew she was the best player on the floor, and she was a great teammate as well. And I just admired her. And then her winning back-to-back state championships, watching that on TV was just unreal. she's a competitor. I mean, she ended up being drafted to the WNBA. Like anything she did, I wanted to do. And I was probably like 6th, 7th grade at the time. So like I got to meet her a few times, the nicest person ever. Like I still to this day will look up to her for anything. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. So still kind of thinking about high school. With Jeff and I are actually part of a private basketball community, actually just Indiana community. We talk about all kinds of things, different sports, but one of our listeners, Brian Flukiger, sorry if I got your name wrong, Brian, but his daughter and he attended your sectional final game against Chicago Kenwood. Yeah. So he wanted to know, can you describe the feeling of winning such an exciting game and what it meant to make the game winning assist?
Yeah. That was probably the most fun game I've ever been a part of. Just like the atmosphere and everything. But going into the game, we played Kenwood Academy, who was one of the best in the state at the time. And not many people thought we should have even been in like that position, like in the game or even to be playing that game. So just to be even like make it a game was exciting. And like we were up the whole entire time. So we all kind of thought, just take care of the ball, we'll be fine. And all of a sudden they hit a 3, we're down 1, whatever. And there's like 7 seconds left to go. And like all we thought, we took a timeout. All I was thinking was like, let's just get a good shot. Like that's all you could really like wish for. But they let me go in transition, and I found my teammate for a layup, which I still like. That was just a crazy moment. Like I watch it back and like I think like I don't even know. Like it doesn't feel real. Like it just feels like I'm watching a movie or something. But that was just such an exciting game, and like for my teammate to make the shot is incredible. She's a sophomore, so like to have the trust. I trust anyone on that team to make the shot, and it was awesome. But
I want to kind of go back into a little bit before your senior year, Lanae, and just and Kathy had mentioned, or you had mentioned even, I think that you had your first offer in the 8th grade from DePaul, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Just tell us a little bit about what the recruiting process was like for you in terms of kind of going through that process, starting with the offer from DePaul up until the time you made the commitment to IU. I mean, did you feel a lot of pressure, or was it more, or is the women's side a little more laid back? We see so much about the men's side of what the recruiting is. On the women's side, is it similar, or is it a little more laid back?
For me, it started off pretty laid back. Like 8th grade, like I was getting looks, I got an offer, but it was still like pretty laid back. You can't really communicate with them anyways. Like you got to set up the calls and all that. But like I was just kind of like getting interest. Like I would get like calls. I don't even know if Coach Rhett remembers, but I had a phone call with him once, and then like the next time I talked to him was when they offered me. So like it was pretty chill. But and then like once COVID hit, it was even slower. Like there wasn't much we could do, and I was young. I was going to be a sophomore. So I would say my spring, summer, going into my junior year is when it really exploded. I think I got like around 30 offers in like 2 months. Like it was just like crazy. And that part was very overwhelming. I can't lie, but it was also exciting because it's like a dream come true. Like some of the schools that I was like watching on TV that I never thought I'd be able to play for were offering me, and that was crazy. So at that point I had to have like a sit down meeting with my high school coach and just kind of talk it out and like, let's narrow it down a little bit, kind of make it more realistic, because I mean, I could only go to one school at the end of the day.
So what kind of criteria did you use in that process? Like you said, you narrowed it down. What did you come up with, like a top 5 list, and how did you get to that top 5? And would you share with us who were your top 5?
Yeah.
And then ultimately what led you to Indiana then? What had made them the winners, I guess?
Definitely. So I had it to like 10, which was like still way too much at one point. And then finally I was able to get it down a little bit more. And I had like Iowa, Michigan were up there for sure. A couple other Big Tens. Tennessee was up there. But the whole season, my junior high school season, all I could remember was watching Indiana women's basketball. Like I would talk to every school, whatever. Like I would express interest into them. But like at the end of the day, like my parents were even like, you don't watch college basketball unless it's Indiana. I was like, yeah, kind of. I mean, like I do, but like I'm watching every Indiana game. So it kind of just felt like right at the time. And I mean, I love the girls, love the coaches. They were super genuine throughout the entire process. Like you could just tell they have a good culture, like from the outside perspective. And as soon as I got on campus, like it's the same stuff. So no, I couldn't be happier with my decision. So.
And I want to ask you a little bit about that because we've heard that multiple times,
Yeah.
anecdotally, and then also Chloe talked a little bit about when we asked her kind of the same
Mhm.
question. Just the word that gets tossed around is family. Is that
Yeah.
what it felt like as you went through the process?
Oh, definitely. Like I could be having like a game, a high school game, and I would have Mackenzie Holmes, Grace Berger, all of them texting me like, "Hey, good luck." Like they don't have to do that. Like they're big time athletes. Like they have a lot going on. And then like every single coach would reach out to me. I didn't just have a good relationship with Coach Moore or Coach Rhett. Like every single coach on staff would text me constantly, call me, whatever I needed. They were there for me. Like another story that was just insane was one of their games, the entire staff came to watch me, and we were playing a horrible team. Like they didn't need to come. Like there was no reason. It was a snowstorm. Like the roads were closed. I don't even know how they got there, but they showed up. They all were there. Coach Box, every single one of them, and just to see them there was crazy. Like the support all throughout the process was insane. So, yeah,
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So let's fast forward. Now you've chosen Indiana. I believe, are you on campus now?
I am.
Is
Yes.
that right? Cool. So when did you actually arrive on campus, and tell us about your experience so far in Bloomington? Has anything surprised you so far coming into the, quote unquote real world of college yet?
So we got here like June 12th. It's been great. I love everyone on the team. So that's been great. There's no issues with that. But I would say the shock or the surprise, I guess, was going in as a freshman. You know, the workouts are going to be hard. Like there's no doubt you got to get ready. But the conditioning's definitely months before and be like, just, like you got to come in the best shape possible. So I'm glad I came ready. He kind of scared me into becoming ready, but it's been great. Just the days are long though. There's lots of workouts, but I love it. So nothing I would change.
And are you attending classes and things already? And
Yeah.
Are you in a dorm, or where are you staying at?
Yeah, we're in an apartment for the summer, which has been
Okay.
great. And then in the fall we'll be at Briscoe, right across the gym, which will be convenient. But we're also in 2 classes, an online class and an in-person class. And the in-person class is like witchcraft and heresy, which I would never think
I didn't take that one.
Yeah, no, it's interesting for sure.
I bet.
But yeah, it's been good.
Good.
So speaking of, the other freshmen come on campus and Jules Lamondola, are you two like rooming together, or is it more of but just kind of what connection have you been able to make with her?
Yeah, we're like best friends. It's been great. We were close the whole past year. We had our official together and everything. And right from then we've always been close, but like living with her, we have the same mindset. We always want to be in the gym, stuff like that. But yeah, no, she's the best.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about your game. So we know you played guard in high school, and actually in our live chat here, Joel wants to know, what role or position do you see yourself playing on your college team? Do you still see yourself as a guard, or where do you think you might fit in with the team?
Yeah, definitely guard, like a 1 or 2. They also have me like wanting to like watch film and stuff, and a little bit of the 3 as well. So for sure guard. I just want to do whatever I can to like impact winning, I guess. Like at the end of the day, like I just want to win games. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'll kind of go with that as well. And just, you're on campus now. What would you say are your strengths as a player? And then also, what's probably one thing you've like, man, I got to improve that?
Yeah. I would say my strengths is I think I have a high IQ on the court. I see the floor well. I could score the ball, but also I like to get my teammates involved. I love finding people, like, for example, like Sarah Scalia we're going to have to find her for threes. Like, know your personnel, kind of know your teammates. So whatever my teammates need, wherever they need the ball, I want to give it to them. And something I definitely need to improve on is just getting in the weight room, getting stronger. At the college level is no joke. So just got to get stronger, the best shape possible. That's really it. But
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Also, Joel and a few others in our chat wanted to make sure we let you know, in case you hadn't heard already, Briscoe is called Disco Briscoe. So that's the nickname of the dorm.
Really? I had no
at least
idea.
It used to, I guess, long ago. I'm not sure if it's still the case. So if you say it and people look at you crazy, just say some old crazy
Yeah, I'm
basketball
not sure we
people
should have
told
told
me
her
about
that.
All right,
Yeah.
perfect. Well, good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead, Kathy. I'll let you take the next one.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, kind of talk to us about your typical day right now. So you're back on campus, and you're going to a couple of classes, you're living off campus, but you said the workouts are hard, but walk us through, like, what do? You get up in the morning, and what's the kind of typical day for you?
So we get up around like 6 a.m. and we have conditioning and lifting from 7 to 8. So we'll run first, or whether that's on the football field, Versa, machine, whatever it is, and then we'll lift. And then Jules and I will quickly go to Toby for breakfast, and then go to Cook to shower, and then we have class. So we'll go straight to class. And then after class, it ends at 11. So from like 11 to 12, we'll have study hall. And then usually if we don't have practice, then it's like a group workout or whatever, which the times can like vary from like 1 to 3, which are 45 minutes. So we'll have that. And then, I mean, everyone either stays before or after. The rest of the day to yourself, but at that point you're pretty exhausted because it's like 3 o'clock and you've accomplished everything. But yeah, so
yeah.
Well, with that kind of leads me to, I'll follow up with that. Just how acquainted have you become with Cook Hall?
Yeah, I'm there. Just when I'm not there, I'm at home sleeping. So I'm basically live there. Yeah.
Has there, and this has been, I'll kind of use another question here, has there been one of the older kids that's kind of taking it? We got this, Grace Berger talked to me about how Allie Patberg was that person for her. And Grace said she did it for others. Chloe talked about having the older. Has there been an upperclassman or two that kind of take you under their wing, but hey, I'm going to Cook Hall, come with me?
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say Mackenzie Holmes has just been really welcoming. Like anything I need help with, she's there. Like I've asked her questions plenty of times, like stuff we're learning, new plays, defense stuff, and she's first one to help me. I mean, all of them are great. All of them are willing to help, no matter what. But she's someone definitely that I would look up to. She's a great player, and I can't wait to play with her. So she's just been super helpful.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm sure you're doing a lot of team bonding things outside of practices. Are there any ones that have really stuck out to you that you thought, gosh, that really helped us bond as a team, or we really enjoyed this, or any of those stories that maybe you can tell us about of how you're doing that team bonding off of the court and out of the strength conditioning room?
Yeah. We hang out a lot as a team, whether that's just going to someone's house or whatever, but like we've gone to a Fever game, which was awesome too. On Sundays at the city church, I think it's what it's called, but that's great. I think we all enjoy it. So yeah, nothing too crazy, but dinner, whatever it is, we're always together. Yeah.
And Lanae, Trenton asked a question in our group chat. What's been your favorite part about Bloomington so far?
I would probably say the people, like not only my teammates, but just like everyone is just so welcoming and like wants the best for each other. Like, and in addition to like the basketball side, like we all have the same mindset. Like we all just want to get better. We're all on the same page. The culture is great. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite food place that you've picked out yet? Or is it too soon to narrow it down?
Right now I would say Qdoba.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Great. Let's see, where are we? So also,
go ahead, Kathy.
sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say today, speaking of team bonding, the team announced that they added another trip onto the schedule. We already knew about Greece, which I would like to ask you about later. But this one today was announced that the team's traveling to Fort Myers and over a holiday weekend over Thanksgiving. Yeah. You mentioned you were recruited by Tennessee. They're one of the teams you'll be playing against now, and Princeton. So tell us a bit, how excited are you for that trip, and what do you think it really means for the program in terms of, the team itself? It's going to be on national TV, I think it's on Fox, and just the kind of implications in general of having a nice, great tournament. I don't know if it's not really a tournament, but you know what I'm saying, basketball. To play over Thanksgiving.
Showcase event.
For sure.
Showcase. There you go.
No, it's great. Like you said, it's going to be on national television, which is not only good for us, but good for just like women's basketball in general. And Tennessee and Princeton are both very legit teams. So it's going to be good games that we're going to have to show up for. And I can't wait. I mean, like you said, like it's a Thanksgiving tournament. I grow up like watching these big tournaments and the cool arenas and everything. And so to be able to play there and like have that experience is going to be crazy. So,
yeah. I already texted my husband, by the way, and I was like, hey, what do you think about a mini vacation away from Iowa? I live in Iowa. So yeah, Florida and over Thanksgiving sounds much better to me.
Definitely.
And I'll kind of go back to the Greece trip here. My understanding, you get a certain number of practices before you leave on that trip. So will those be starting pretty soon as far as those practices? And then also, have you been to Europe before?
I have never traveled outside of the country, so it's going to be a new experience. I'm super excited. But for the practices, we've been doing like 1 or 2 a week. Right now, Coach Warren's obviously with Team USA, so we haven't been doing twice a week. But Coach Rhett and all the other coaches will run our practices. Like right now, we're going once a week, but before Coach left, we were going twice a week practicing. So they've been going well too. So.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were going to pick a first country to go to in Europe, would Greece have been it, or would you have liked to have gone somewhere else for your very first Europe trip?
Yeah, no, I would definitely say Greece. Like I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. But,
yeah.
So
absolutely.
Joel asked in our chat as well, is there a nickname that we'll get to know you by? Like Tamar Bates, everybody referred to as Scoop.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, all the coaches and everyone calls me Bo. Like it's the first like few letters of my last name, right. But yeah. No one really calls me Lanae anymore, but yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. That's great. So again, growing up, you mentioned you watched at least a lot of Indiana basketball, but just basketball in general. Did you have anybody that you really thought you wanted to model your game after? You talked about Kathleen Murphy. Besides her, was there anyone else that you modeled your game after?
I wouldn't say modeled my game after too much, but definitely a lot of like professional players I would look up to, like Courtney Vandersloot. Like the person I train with back at home trains her as well before she went to New York Liberty. But just like I would say her for sure. Grace Berger, when I was being recruited, was another person that I really watched closely. They would send me game clips of her, just like, oh, like this, like look at our actions and stuff. And, you know, like even seeing her, I saw her the other weekend at a Fever game, and like she's always so welcoming and just like gave me a hug and everything, asked how I was doing. Like, so I would definitely say them for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
As an incoming freshman, Coach Morin's teams have always been defense first. And I'm sure they told you that through the recruiting process. But now that you're there, has the emphasis and the concepts, have they been difficult for somebody who's coming out of high school? Is that a really tough understanding? I mean, for her defense to get into?
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. But like we watch plenty of film before, after practice, plenty of reps. So I'm starting to get the hang of it. Like, of course, as a freshman, you're going to make mistakes, but a lot of it's similar concepts to what I kind of did in high school. But again, like you said, it's a lot different as well. It's the college level. So it's more of a team defense. Like they really emphasize, like, just because your girl might get beat, it doesn't mean it's not on everyone else to help you. Like, you know what I mean? So still learning, but definitely getting better for sure.
Yeah. So during your practices, do they have you guarding another player specifically, or how are the matchups starting to go for you?
Yeah, so we really haven't done too many matchup stuff. Like whenever we practice or play or whatever, it will be against like the practice guys. We haven't really done too much like against each other yet, just because taking it easy in the summer, making sure we all stay healthy, all that. But yeah, we'll see when that happens in the preseason. And all
so you haven't had the opportunity for Chloe to guard you yet?
Yeah, luckily I have not. That's a scary sight. Yeah. Yeah.
Just asking because Joel again in the chat wanted to know if you could tell us how strong she really is. So.
Oh yeah, she's incredible. She's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Lanae, you growing up in Illinois, just maybe going way back again, you grew up in Lisle, but you went to Bennett Academy. Maybe for our listeners, could you talk about how close they were together? What was it like going to an academy? What was the situation there? And how do you think it helped prepare you for college?
Yeah, no, I definitely think it really has helped me prepare just like for adjustment. Like obviously, I still had to adjust to a lot of things being a freshman and everything, but Bennett really prepared me for it academically and athletically. We've always been like regarded as a pretty high academic school, so uh, main goal is to prepare us for college, and I think it's done a good job. The schoolwork so far hasn't been too overwhelming or anything, and basketball wise, Coach Kilbride at my high school, he's like a legend in the state of Illinois. Just like he's very good at what he does. So in the summer we would kind of have a similar schedule with my high school team. We would lift, we would do some sort of conditioning or agility, and then we would have like a 2-hour practice in the summer. Very strict, and a lot of people thought it was a little insane, but it really has gotten me ready for like this and like similar concepts. Like he would never put up with anyone being late or anything like that. Like I was very blessed to have a very hardworking team that no one really complained or anything like that. So Bennett has definitely helped me a lot for sure.
Yep.
So, Lanae, last question I'll have for you. What's kind of your goal for this year? I mean, this has been a program where freshmen have not generally gotten a huge amount of minutes, but we hope you do because we like what we've seen. But just kind of what is your goal coming into the season? Not just playing time, but overall.
Right. Yeah. So like you said, of course, anyone wants to see the floor. If you're coming here, anyone wants to see the floor. But at the end of the day, I just want to, whatever my role is, I want to be the best at my role. And like, no matter what it is, I'm going to accept it and do the best I can. And we want to win games. We want to win another Big Ten regular season. We want to win the tournament. And eventually, get another banner. So like, whatever that is for me, whatever they need from me, I just want to do it to the best of my ability. I want to impact winning on and off the floor, whatever I can. Continue. I feel like I've been told I'm a very hard worker, and I know I am. I got to be like kicked out of the gym a lot of the time. So just continue to work hard and just know whatever they need, I'm here for. So.
That's wonderful. Yeah, we read quite a few articles about your work ethic already. So it fits right in with the slogan, right? Do the work for that you're walking into. So that's really fantastic to hear. So switching maybe a little to the academic side. So you talked about Bennett being a good academic school as well and preparing you. Have you thought about what you might like to major in? Are you still exploring things like witchcraft and online classes?
Yeah, so I'm not going to be doing witchcraft, but
that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. So I did get directly admitted to the Kelley School of Business, but I'm not exactly sure like which like aspect of business I'll be studying yet, but I'll figure it out eventually. So
that's great. I am also a Kelley grad. So
nice.
If you want to try to do the math and figure out my age, if you go back and find out the first year that Kelley was named Kelley School of Business, that was the year I graduated from college. So I was actually after we left, my friends and they had just switched the signs out 2 days before graduation. So I have pictures in front of the signs, very freshly painted. So that's great. So that's a fantastic accomplishment. So congratulations on that. That's really great. Jeff, did you have any other questions that you thought of?
Well, I said I had my last question, but I will say this: sarcastic Mike in our chat. Okay, and this is one that I think a lot of people have a interest in, Lanae, because they just don't know enough about it.
Right.
But how do recruits view, for example, Indiana, other schools when it comes to potential NIL opportunities? Is that something that in the women's recruiting process is as much as like we see it on the men's side, a lot of talk about NIL.
Right.
How much of that goes on in the women's game?
It's definitely not as present in the women's game, but I think it's definitely getting there in a lot of aspects. Personally, for me, I didn't really like consider it too much in my like whole recruiting process because like at the end of the day, like it's like if you're making like notice on a public, like on a national stage, like you're going to get the deals you want and everything. And for me, that's not really a priority. I just want to go out and play basketball, basically. So
I love that answer.
Yeah.
Fantastic answer. So
thank you.
So Lanae, we're almost to the end of our time here together, but just to kind of maybe leave on some nice notes for folks to maybe get to know you a little bit. You mentioned Qdoba. Have you tried any of the local restaurants in town that also are some of your favorites?
So we've gone to Viva Mas a couple times now, and I really like that place. Buffalo Louie's, love it.
Yep.
That's where I've gone on all my visits here. So yeah, it's a great one. Other than that, I have not really tried new places. I need to, but I also still get like lost around campus. So I'm figuring
I'll ask another now. Kathy, you made me think of one. Lenee, if you got time, which you mentioned earlier, you don't have a ton, but if you're sitting around and you're binge watching, what's your go-to show?
On Netflix, Grey's Anatomy, or like Jules and I are addicted to the Kardashians. Yeah, so that's it right now.
Pleasure there.
Yeah, no, there's a lot for sure, but that's it
awesome.
Right. Yeah,
that's fantastic. How about favorite movie? Do you have a movie that you've seen multiple times that you're like, gosh, you're flipping through and the TV or whatever, and it comes on, you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and watch this.
I've got a lot. I love movies.
Top 3?
That is so
too hard to narrow down.
Yeah, that is really hard. I don't even know, to be honest. Anything with sports, or like I like a lot of like action or like mystery movies, type suspenseful movies. But yeah, I don't even know. I don't know if I could do that, to be honest.
Your favorite basketball movie?
Hoosiers.
There you go.
Yeah. Well done.
Come on, yeah.
I feel like that's a perfect note to end on too.
Right.
But thank you again, Lenee, for joining us today. We're really has been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Is there anything though you want to leave our listeners with that will listen either now or right now? We have a few people listening live, but a lot of people later too. Anything you want to leave them with that you really want them to know about you, or just to think about as they head into the season?
I guess just come to as many games as possible. Come support us. We're going to be really good this year. We have high expectations and we're working hard. So yeah, it's going to be a fun season for sure.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think with that, thanks again, Lenee. I will wrap us up here, and I think we'll let you get about to your evening of Kardashian watching and Qdoba eating. So again, thanks again for joining us. Thanks to everyone who's listening. So real quick on programming notes, Jeff and I will be back next week with another episode of Doing the Work. We are planning on again being here on Tuesday. Watch our Twitter accounts, or if you're in our private community, we'll post more details about that, but most likely it will be at our normal time here of 8 Eastern and 7 Central. The Assembly Call guys will be back on this Thursday with their normal weekly show. And if you do want to watch us do the show live and be part of our live chats, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you can find at youtube.com/assemblycall. You can be part of our private community as well. Find out more at assemblycall.com/community. Special thanks to John Ringer of Riggs Design, who designed our logo that you can see if you're watching us on YouTube here. Huge thanks to Bob Thompson, who heard a little snippet of the music that he made for us earlier. But most of all, thank you all out there for listening, supporting Indiana women's basketball. And a huge, again, thanks to Lenee for your time today. Super appreciate it. But we'll be back to talk IU hoops again with you soon. And until then, keep your elbows in, your eyes on the room, and let's go Hoosiers.
All right. Thanks, Lenee. That was awesome. Great job.
Of course. Anytime. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you. And huge good luck to you in your freshman season, by the way, right?
No,
like not just on the court, off the court, especially if you decide to pursue Kelly, it's not an easy route, but very respectful and will totally pay off dividends for sure. So really fantastic. So
thank you.
Fantastic talking to you. And if you ever do need any support or anything, you just got to reach out to us on Twitter or whatever. And you have a huge community and family, not just on the court or in the staff behind you, but all of your crazy fans out there too. So
some of them are crazy.
I love it.
A little crazy. You might want to ask Jeff and I first before you talk to some of them.
Okay, Kathy, I want to ask you a question that won't matter to Lenee, but was it just the IU School of Business then?
Yeah, it was just the IU School of Business. Okay. Yeah. And then Kelly made the donation my senior year. So Lenee, for your reference and how old I am, that was 1999. So he made a very huge sum of money. So do you know, he was the founder of Steak and Shake.
Okay.
So yeah, he did his graduate school at Indiana and he just made a ton of money because he wanted them to do a new grad school. And so that whole new graduate building that you see there, that was not there when I when I came. So the Mr. Kelly donated all that money and it went into building that building. So yeah, I do. They redid the signs right outside the Kelly School of Business. It now says Kelly School of Business. Before it just said School of Business. And so my friends and I went and had our picture taken with it literally like 2 days after it was put up.
That's
and
awesome.
right before, like right after graduation. So
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
It was great.
Again, thanks, Lanae. I hope you have a great season, and
Thank
hopefully
you.
we'll be able to get you back on.
Definitely, I'd love to. I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Have a good one.
You too.
Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.